Welcome to the Cottage number 22 Cleanout video. Just want to go over how to get the block out of your house and taken apart, cleaned out, and go from this to having some beautiful clean cocoons. So first thing you're going to do is slide out your platform. From that point at the bottom of the block, you should be able to just push it up and pull it out. If you need to, you'll need to take out your release box to get it to go up high enough. If you've already reversed it like I've done to keep the wasps out, you can't use a pencil, but you can probably grab this with a pair of needle nose pliers. So what we're going to do is just take a look at this before we open it up. We got some really nice full tunnels in the front here. Had a really good season for that. And as we turn it around, you can see that I didn't have it mounted properly. Now, this is an older block. The newer blocks have a updated keyhole, and so the parasitic wasps have gotten in the back here. They only need 1/8 of an inch, and you can see there's some holes, some nice clean holes where they have come out, and they've gone through the back clay. They have infected with their egg, the female in the back here, and so I've lost probably all of these females in the back. So we're going to see that when we get into it. You can also see some pollen mites here if that shows up. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to take a Phillips screwdriver. You may need to hold the other side here. I put my finger here so that I can sort of judge if it's turning or not. And just unscrew that. Get them both unscrewed. Nope, that wasn't far enough. There we go. I undid the wrong side. You want to do the side that has the bolt in it. So you can just simply lift out your bolt. And so, when we flip it over, we see our first nesting block. This is the front, this is the back. That's pollen mites. We've got some pollen mites here, and it looks like we're good all the way through. So that's great. I want to just take a look at each one of these before we clean them out. One thing you always want to have around is a bucket for garbage, just to catch little bits here and there. Another nice, so we've got some destruction here from the parasitic wasp, and you can actually see some parasitic wasp larvae there. Some pollen mites. Sometimes these are stuck together really well, and you might need to take a screwdriver and just poke it into the front. This front, as you can see, the front cell is empty. It's a decoy. So if you put a screwdriver in there, you're not going to hurt anything. And just pry it apart. That's the middle. Here we go, another one. Nice, nice, nice. So we've got a pollen ball here that hasn't been, she either forgot to lay the egg or the egg didn't hatch. So it's just a pollen ball. That's how big of a food mass that they will be eating. Some pollen mites. Yeah, these are looking really healthy. There's a few things here and there. So here's an interesting one where these are probably Houdini flies because they're inside, and you can see the larvae in here. And what they do is they go in while the mother mason bee is making her pollen ball, and they lay an egg in there, and that egg or two hatch and eat the pollen ball. And once they hatch, they can then burst their way through this cement with their head. They're disgusting. And then they go on to others. So they're a little black fly. If you see them, they're quite slow. You can squish them, spray them with water, slow them down, then you can squish them. So these are going to be destroyed so they don't infect anything else. So there's that. Now what we're going to do, we always have a bucket for garbage and a bucket for our cocoons. This is just a screwdriver, which should work just fine for getting these out of here. The trick you want to do is to make sure that you get really flat and that you don't push on your cocoons or cut them. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I've got some parasites here. I'm going to get them into the garbage and then I'm going to squish them. And I just squish them with my finger. If you want to wear gloves, if you want to use a tool or something, you know, that's as long as you squish them. If you leave them in here and they get into the landfill and they hatch, we're not doing anybody any favors. Okay, so I've got this one here, that one there, and this one. I'm not sure if that's got any. See how thick that is? There's no way that a parasitic wasp can get her ovipositor through that. It's too thick. So I know that's a good one. And we're just going to scoop everything we have into the bucket. There's one. Let's get that out of there. You can see right there, that hole. That's the exit hole from the parasitic wasp. That little hole right there. So what she's done is she was able to get her ovipositor in through the mud and into the cocoon. The larva then hatched and took out the cocoon. There's one there. That's a really good example. So that's just going to go straight into the garbage. And take out the pollen mites while I'm at it. That one's nice and thick. There's no way she got into that. But we do have a pollen mite ball there that didn't was not viable. So we're just going to go through and scrape all these out of here. We're going to take care of the garbage later anyway that we don't all get out. Oh, that's in there solid. Look how hard that is. That's just a solid mass of pollen. Now it's gone hard because it's a few months old. But that gives you an idea of how much work they have to do for the babies. And that's another. So just going to put that off to the side. We'll clean it out later. So let's take the noses off first. Get rid of those. And then we're going to go through. There's some pollen mites. Let's get rid of those. Keep that cocoon. That one's been parasitized, so I'm going to get rid of both of those. Pollen mites, good cocoon. Some pollen mites, good cocoon. And you don't even have to do this. It just keeps your water cleaner as you're going later. That looks pretty small. That's interesting. That one spun its cocoon before it was finished its pollen. So we're going to keep an eye out for that little guy. That's a suspect. See, these ones here have nice thick cement. That one doesn't. These ones are all good. That one's not so good. What's going on there? Oh, it might be okay. No. You can tell as you go which of your cocoons are going to be healthy and which aren't. And the ones that are not healthy, the ones that you're pretty sure are parasitized, it's better to just get rid of them. If you save one and it's been parasitized, because it's very possible that the parasitic wasp got here late and they didn't have a chance to hatch out. So if you see back here any holes, you're pretty much guaranteed that's an exit hole. But there is a possibility that she put eggs in here and they have stayed as adults in the cocoons over winter, and they will come out as cocoons. They will come out as adults in the spring. Here's a bunch of the Houdini fly. Get rid of those. I know it's kind of gross doing it with my fingers. You can do it with a screw head. You can do it with anything. Okay, let's just keep on going here. We're also going to look for holes in our cocoons as we're cleaning and inspecting. So even if you miss some of these, it's okay, they're going to show up. It'll all come out in the wash. There's one that didn't make it. Got mostly grown and something happened inside and it just didn't survive. Oh. You can tell if it has a bee in it or not. It's solid. You don't have to squish it very hard and you can tell. You can feel it. There's a mass in there. These ones that are parasitized, there's nothing there. You can feel it. Oh. See the hole there? When you give that a bit of a squeeze, you can feel it just collapses. There's nothing else in there. Okay, now that we have those cleaned out of there, we're going to take you to the kitchen. We're going to spray these off. You want to make sure your water is really, really cold. We don't want to get these guys warm any more than we have to. We're already coming into a warm house, so this is going to be pretty quick. So there's our beauties there. We're just going to turn on some water and give these guys a bath. If they're really bad, you can wear gloves here if you want to again. Pick them up and very gently roll them. So you're just kind of rubbing them against each other to break off any other mites is the most problem. Clay on the end of it doesn't really matter. You can break it off if you want to. We want to get rid of our mites that are on here for the most part. And these things don't need to be shiny clean. We're just helping out nature a little bit by taking off some of the predators. Parasites more than anything. Predators are birds. So, handy dandy cat litter scoop. Just scoop them out. Put them in another bucket. We're going to give them one more rinse. And these are good to let soak. You can just let them soak in there for a while if you want to. But I'm just going to rinse them out and take them back out to dry because they don't need to soak long. Okay, those look really great. Take some paper towel. Just a couple layers is all you need. You can use a plate, you can use whatever you have. We're just going to lay them out on the paper towel so they can dry, and we can inspect them a little bit more. Take a look for any other exit holes. There is a possibility of the parasitic wasp coming out as an adult when you soak it in the water. I've seen it, not seeing it here though. There's that little one. Okay. Just spread them out a bit. Then you can take a peek. This one that's wrinkled, you just give it a roll. You can feel that there's something in there. Just a very gentle squeeze, and you can feel it won't collapse. I mean, these are extremely thin silk cocoons. That's interesting. As I squeeze that one a little bit of air comes out. So that tells me that it's not sealed. And you can feel it. As you squeeze it a bit, it's collapsing. There's nothing in there. So they've either escaped or, yep, there's the hole right there. I don't know if that is picked up. A very, very small hole. But there could be still adult parasitic wasp inside here. So you don't need to inspect every single one. They will generally show themselves to you, I find, when you have an issue. So we're just going to leave those on there. We've cleaned them off really nicely. There's not very much yellow showing up on the paper towel, which is pollen mites. They'll show yellow. So I'm not going to worry about even giving them another rinse. I'm just going to let them dry off, and we're going to put them into the fridge. That didn't work very well. Those were ones that I had in my fridge already. So what we have here is some dried cocoons. So they're nice and gray like that. They're nice and healthy. So what we've done, staple the end of a toilet paper roll, and then just take a Tim Hortons cup is fine. Leave the one end open. So they're going to go into the roll, into the cup, and in that cup, you'll take some paper towel, get it damp, put it inside a baggie, which we're going to leave open. And we're going to put that baggie inside the cup. We don't want water to touch the cardboard and get it moldy. And this baggie might go moldy, or the tin foil and paper towel in there might go moldy eventually. So just take it out, put a new one in. This way we can inspect our cocoons to see if they're getting wrinkly or if they're getting moldy. If they get a bit of mold on them, take them out, give them another wash in the sink, dry them out again, and then put them back inside. We're going to put the lid on top, open it up so it can breathe, a couple of holes so it can breathe, and just put that in your fridge. And that's a fine way of keeping the bees in the cocoons over the winter. In the back of your fridge, keeps the draft off of them, so they'll stay nice and moist, but they're not going to get dried out, and they're not going to mold because of the too much water in there. It's a really good way, and just every month or take a look and see how you're doing. And that's it. They can stay in your fridge until 2 weeks before your bloom date. That means you need to know your trees. If you leave them in your fridge for too long, they're going to start coming out in your fridge, and of course they'll die in your fridge. So even if you know that your temperature is going to be fairly stable and not get cold again, end of March into May, you can put them out and just let them go. They'll take care of themselves. They'll come out when they need to come out. They might come out too early, but they will not come out too late. So there you are. I wish you all the best with your mason bees and your new cocoons, and may this be a great spring. Take care, and we will see you again.